I remember the name. Jazz Takhar, best in the game. Mamba mentality in his own lane. So better pay attention to what he be saying. Get the message, ain't no question. Giving advice for any investment. Welcome to the broadcast, the Jazz Takhar podcast.
All right, so we're going to talk about a lot of stuff today, but just in case people don't know who you are, Alfonso, if you don't know and you haven't been back to my older episodes, this guy is a returning guest. He was so good in the first one that I had to bring him back. Why don't you just tell the guys and gals that are listening right now, that 27-second, 37-second kind of origin story of you, buddy, who you are.
Or 20 seconds?
Yeah, just 27, 30, because I got so much that I want to talk to you about, because
there's
it's been
so much
long.
happening.
There's so much that has happened.
And look at the space. Before it was like in an office. Now you got a studio. You're in another level, man. Congratulations.
Well, I appreciate that.
Congratulations.
Look, do the intro first. Do your intro first because I mean, I want to thank you for something, but I want you to do the intro first because my team gets pissed off at me because I never let the other person kind of do the intro. To my 22-year-old Yas, the cinematographer, the guy behind the ones and twos. Do the intro.
Listen, I'm a refugee here, to Canada. I came here in '86 when I was 9 years old. I was in 2 wars before the age of 9. Had issues integrating into the education system, ultimately dropped out of high school at 15, left home, homeless, dark moments, had a life-changing moment. And we talked a little bit about that the last time I was here. I became a father at 17, changed my life, started a business, became an entrepreneur, very successful, but I did not have financial literacy. I needed to change something. 23 years ago, I started investing in multifamily. Now I have a portfolio, $200 million across Canada. And I spend the majority of my time teaching people how to achieve financial freedom.
And that's what we're going to be talking about today. The journey is the best, man. From my seat, watching you. You said $200 million. How many doors?
So what we did, well, you know what? 600,
okay.
But we did a liquidity event.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And the best time to sell was last year, and now we're like really positioned to go to the next level.
But so you're at 600 now, but did you get to a higher number from what you sold from? What was that number? And there's a reason I'm asking you that.
What's
Alfonso.
that?
What was that number like at the height in terms of doors?
I would have to say close to 1,200.
Okay, the reason I said that and I asked you that is because if you go back to the podcast that you and I did now 2.5, 3 years ago, you had a goal of 750 doors.
Yeah. Still, this is now...
But you got to 1,200.
Yeah,
do you know what I'm saying? So you were full of shit is what I'm trying to get to. That's what
But here's the thing, Jazz. I remember that. That was 2019?
Yeah, it must have been. Yeah, Laura? 2019. Yeah.
Pre-COVID.
Yeah.
Pre-COVID. And, I'm always been in expansion. I always want to put myself in a position where I'm consistently expanding, right? I get uncomfortable. And I remember saying these things, but I really didn't know how it was going to happen. March 13th, boom, we all got hit with, 2020, March 13th, our life changed. I did contract in a way where I was scared, I've never been ashamed to admit I didn't know what was going on. They shut down the NBA, you know what I mean?
I remember
the NHL,
the day like it was yesterday,
I can understand, but NBA.
The Canadians are going to get pissed off.
I'm just playing.
It is what it is. No,
I'm just playing. So it felt different.
Yeah.
We knew we were in for something, and April 1st was like Judgment Day. Right, for investors, because you didn't know if people were going to pay the rent, right? And what was it? Warren Buffett, he says, when the tide goes out, you find out who's been swimming naked.
Mm-hmm.
And
nobody wants to see you and I swimming naked. Okay. Not you and I. Anyways. But anyway, that's a different podcast for a different day. But I want to go back to this.
So I'll go back
because you mentioned to the podcast though, that we did.
Yeah, but I'm going to get to that.
Okay, go.
So April, we were very active. We talked to all our tenants, make sure we picked up the phone and everything. And guess what? April 1st came and we were 98% collected, right? And then there was a sigh of relief. April 2nd, I'm taking a shower, and I'm like, holy moly, I know exactly how I'm going to get to 7,500 doors, right? Everyone is scared right now. And so we went on this like mission, April 2nd to August 1st. We took the most action we've ever taken in the history of our company. We bought millions and millions of dollars of real estate, which all doubled in price. And then we liquidated. So now we're in a cash position because now, my friend, we call it hunting season.
Well, you're very deadly now. You're going to have the opportunity to be very deadly. Let's talk about something that you just said, though. You said you took a lot of action from July 1st.
April 2nd to August 1st. Okay. This was like, we were in there and people were like, what are you doing? There's COVID. You're not social distancing. And I'm on my YouTube channel and people are writing their comments. They're like, yeah, nice to buy buildings in the middle of a pandemic. You know? I'm like, sorry, lady. I'm like, what do you want me to do? I have an addiction.
Okay. But I want to talk about the action.
Yeah.
Take us back there. What was the action steps that you took? So was it first figuring out, because I just know out of experience that some of the stuff that you did then, people can implement even now, right?
Yes.
And so
I mean, we're in the same position right now. We like what I saw back in April of 2020 was something that, as an investor, we've been waiting for a long time. For people to be scared, right? For people to be scared and just it was like an open market, right? And we had like in March we had this deal under contract. We went at 600,000 10-unit building. By the end of April, we had negotiated that price down to 390,000. So not only were we able to go in there and buy a lot of inventory, but we were able to negotiate really amazing deals, creative deals, agreements for sales, all the things that, people talk about all the time between April 2nd and August 1st.
What was the strategy that, like, I know what you were investing in and we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
But what was it like when you're looking at a property that's $600,000? Were you just throwing offers in? Like,
No.
What was the actual strategy?
Well, basically, there was things wrong with the property.
Got it.
Obviously. But we also used a little bit of what the media was pushing at that time, like, the sky is falling. And so we're like, listen, we're not comfortable with this asset right now, but we're willing to move forward. Because if you remember April, there was no lending. Like, everyone's like, okay, well, we're going to see what you know what I mean? Like, everyone was kind of like, they were just paused. Everyone's just paused. They were just waiting for the flattening of the curve that never came. But
no pun intended. No pun intended. Yeah, I get it.
And so there was a lot of opportunity where people were like, listen, we can go in, we can buy this cash, or we can make it happen. We can do a fast close, because people were like, okay, I just need all the money. I want to go back home. I just want to, there was all these reasons why people wanted to sell, and there was no buyers.
And at that time, was it majority multiplexes?
All multiplexes.
Always. And why is it multifamily? So I have people that invest in a myriad of different types of properties, different strategies within real estate. You've always been the multifam guy, right? Like, since I've known you now for coming up to 5 years, and watched you even before that, and it's always been multifam. Why multifam?
For me, it's a no-brainer. It's the asset class that has never gone to zero, right? I mean, stock market, there's so much volatility everywhere. This is what I know. People will always have to live somewhere. The economy of scale, the idea that you can leverage. It's not solely on your situation. The profitability of it. It's a business, and this idea that in Canada, I mean, there's not enough units for all the people that are coming here, so it makes it for like a no-brainer situation for me. There's nothing wrong with other strategies,
right?
By the way. Yeah,
for you, that's
that's the bread and butter for me.
And my guys and gals know, the ones that watch and listen, that not every strategy is for everyone. Yeah. And just because and
I've done it all.
Well, I know, right? And you now kind of look. I think what happens with a lot of investors is a lot of them actually get that investor object syndrome. You know what I mean? Instead of the shiny object syndrome, it's the investor object.
I want to flip. I want to wholesale. I want to,
And what do they end up doing?
Multifamily.
Or nothing. Or nothing. You know what I mean? Alfonso, like they actually never take action on anything, and then they fall into that paralysis by analysis, right? I mean, that's why we have an RFA sign around me right now, because it's a reminder for people that if you can start to get into the habit of just pulling the trigger as much as you possibly can and then aiming later, you're going to be better off than the person who's just like sitting and ready, like they haven't pulled the trigger and they're wanting to aim before they've ever even fired one shot.
You know what, people,
like how much have you learned with just putting in friggin' offers? You know what I mean?
Back in April of 2020, and by the way, like I am not shy to tell people, go. Like, guys, let's go. I was on my YouTube channel, like, you know, guys, let's go. Like, look what I'm doing. Let's go. And you would call some people, they're like, well, you know what? I got to get ready, right?
I got to get my finances or something. Like,
I got to get ready. I'm like, well, what are you doing? Well, you know, I have my home office. And you see what the issue is, like, I'm left-handed.
So am I.
And the phone is on the right-hand side. So I need to reconfigure my whole room, my whole office to make sure the phone is on the left-hand side. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's go time, right? It's go time.
What is it with those people, though, Alfonso? Because you've been on the stage, like you've been a speaker, an educator. How many years has it been now?
15.
15 years.
Yeah, 15.
Thousands, if not hundreds of thousands now.
Yeah.
You had hundreds of thousands of people that have come seen you speak. You've coached a lot of these people. What is it for a lot of these people that just doesn't get them to take action?
Fear, right? When you let fear overcome you, you almost become paralyzed, right? And what happens is people to offset the fear, they go and they go on YouTube, right? And they start watching videos. By the way, there's nothing wrong with watching videos. Make sure you watch this channel, subscribe, hit the like button, and make sure to smash the
check's in the mail, Alfonso. Thank you very much.
But there's nothing wrong, but there's something psychologically that happens to the majority of people where they think they're doing something. Like they read a book and they feel accomplished. And at the end of the day, no one will ever remember you for something you almost did.
I like that. That's a new one, man. I haven't heard that one before. It's so true. It's why, like, currently at the time of this recording, myself and the team, we started on like a salesperson's immersion program.
Yeah.
I've been asked a lot to coach and to train people. And just where I'm at in my life right now, it's I like to execute. I like to execute quickly, and the coaching and sitting down, and my media crew had a hard time to like sit me down and speak to just the camera and put it into a format like what traditional courses are done, like that, how they're done. And we sat back and we said, okay, what would be something that A, I would enjoy, B, that would be natural, C, doesn't take me away from my day job, but what would, like, the people that are actually attending, where would they actually get value? And it's like, you know what? We're a little tired of just teaching. Like, they have to fucking do. Like, they have to do.
You gotta do.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
On the spot. Fuck up on a phone call. Not no more like, we see Jazz do a bunch of videos. We see Alfonso do a bunch of videos.
Which is all great.
Great. It's a great place to start. You know what I'm saying? It's a great place to start. I just think, like, it's one thing to see the lion at the zoo. It's a different thing to experience the lion in the safari.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I guess I'm calling you and me the lion. Like, what? Like, actually
We're in the safari, right?
In the safari, yeah, not in the zoo. Not in the zoo.
Well, that's what happens because the lion in the zoo becomes conditioned. They know that at noon, the zookeeper is going to come in and bring the food. And this is how people are conditioned. They're like, if I just wait a little bit, you know, get ready, organize my office, right? Clear out the garage, read another book, watch another YouTube video. Eventually, the zookeeper is going to show up with some food. And that's not how it works, because if you take that same lion, bring that lion out into the jungle, it's not going to survive. And sometimes that's fine. You know, it's fine to just chill in the zoo all day. It's a good life.
It's 100% it is. I mean,
nothing wrong with that.
If you want to get to the next level,
yeah.
Like you
gotta,
actually have to
Dude.
do the work. And from an investor's perspective, look, it's not necessarily that you have to go firm on a deal. Like, we're not saying do something dumb and just invest into something without doing any due diligence or anything of that sort. But look, if you're wondering multiplex, and you know, it could be a pre-con, like a new build. It could be you know, just doing the burst strategy. It could be a wholesale deal. Like, if you just bought a parking space in Toronto 17 years ago, you would have bought that for $25,000 17 years ago when I got into the business. Today, that same parking spot is worth $125,000. Beautiful. So, like, right? Like, whatever you invested in would have made money.
Yeah.
Right? As long as, you know, somewhat to Warren Buffett's point that you mentioned earlier, as long as you held on to it.
Yeah.
Right? As long as you actually held on to it. So this thought of like, all right, let me understand everything about multifam and let me go to the seminar about investing into pre-con. If you actually just stuck with one, put some offers in, you would have realized where you possibly could have negotiated. Like, even me, I'm not a big multifam guy in terms of actually doing something. Mm-hmm. Like, I haven't invested into a multifam, right? Like, there's a joint venture I have that we've done this so long ago, I actually even forget about it, in downtown Toronto, but nothing in the last like 8-9 years have I invested into. Wow. But it was news to me, like, holy shit, back in 2020, like, you could have gotten something for 50 cents on the dollar, man.
It was crazy. We're in that same position moving in the next couple of months.
And I'm glad that you said
and so we'll talk about it. But I want to go back to something you were saying. You know, I encourage, you know, all of my students and people that follow me, just go out and just go look at the product. Just start having conversations. Just pick up the phone. Just get on a Zoom call. Just do something. You know what I mean? And then what's going to happen is that Zoom call is going to lead to something else. Someone's going to know that you did something. And the idea of getting the content is important, you know, because we don't want to get away from the education piece. Mm-hmm. But you also need the context, right? And you're only going to get the context by going out there and walking, talking to realtors, putting in offers, figuring out where you can put together the capital, talking to investors, you know, sharing all of these ideas and walking the walk, and the content and the context. That's the secret sauce.
There's something that I heard you say on social, and before we jump to like where the market is now and your thoughts and all that kind of stuff and certain strategies, is if somebody had $10,000, $15,000 right now in their account, and they want to invest, what would you advise them to invest into?
Number one investment is yourself.
Fucking love it.
Yeah.
That's
number one.
Yeah, it's 100%. You know what I mean?
You know,
and elaborate on that. Like,
well, you know what? No one can take that away from you. You know, the coaching, mentoring, educating yourself. It's important. But now you're in a better position to go out there and do, right? Because I don't want anybody to get, you know, watch this and think like, all we got to do is just go and do, right? And make silly mistakes that you can't avoid mistakes, but you don't have to make the silly ones that you could have invested in yourself to avoid. And so, you know, you are going to need guidance and mentorship. You are going to need some hand-holding. You are going to need that, but don't get away from doing.
And I think as an investor, I think we're the luckiest group of people when it comes to others in the investor community in terms of how much they share. I say this all the time, and agree or disagree, I would definitely.
Well, how many videos do you have?
I think I have a little over 12,000 hours or something now.
That's insane. You know what I mean? Like,
well, you probably have.
No, well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah,
like we put out content. Like,
it's
like,
funny,
you know,
right?
Like it's no one's business.
And so there's that, like, and I'm not even talking about the video content. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. What I was actually going to say is like the meetups and stuff, right? And so for salespeople and business owners, unfortunately, what I have found is that most of those meetups and like those breakfast groups and all that kind of stuff, when it comes to salespeople in business, like entrepreneur meetups, they tend to hold the stuff close to their chest. Because most people have that scarcity mindset, right? And it's like, lack. A salesperson, like I can't tell Iman my secrets because then she's gonna take over. You know what I mean? If I tell Ricky, I tell Jesse my secrets, we kind of have like the same target market, you know? But for some reason, investors, especially when there is like a finite amount of properties, like
I don't think so.
Like not
maybe in downtown Toronto.
Well, yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Like let me not call it finite. Maybe that's the wrong word. But like there's a certain amount. You know, there's only a certain amount of properties for sale, and there's only a certain amount of properties in general. Even if you want to knock on the seller's door and ask if they want to sell, but yet they all tell you their first property. They all tell you the biggest mistakes. They all tell you about the mortgage broker to work with. They all tell you about the insurance broker to work with. And I have a feeling, and this is where I want your take on, Alfonso, because you're in these groups. You fucking lead these groups. Like, you're the one that everyone's eyes are on in these groups. I have a feeling it has a lot to do with because we, as investors, all knew, like, how it felt. Like, our VP, Laura Stewart, she bought her first property, and she tells everybody, like a hummingbird, and just, like, sings it to everyone. Like, I was shaking and I had a hard time buying that property. You know, like, it's almost like we don't want that the first time investor to go through that. Yeah. But what's your kind of take on it? Like, you've been in part of such a group where everyone's sharing, and there's no vested interest in a lot of these people. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't actually like have a vested interest. It's just like, man, let me just share my failures with you. You know what I mean?
She's saying that the hands were shaking. I mean, that she was going through expansion, and that's where I encourage people to go. Just always be consistently expanding. You know, like maybe the second property wasn't as nerve-wracking. She then started to become comfortable. I'm actually saying continue to be uncomfortable, right? We were doing a deal at $68 million, and it hit me. I'm like, oh, shoot, I haven't done a deal of $68 million, you know? And so I started to get a little nervous, you know what I mean? Yeah. And so that is where I need to be, expansion, because, you know, whatever, you know, the $1 million deals now, or the $2 million, $3 million deals, like, it doesn't do it for me anymore because it's like way beyond my my comfort, like way in my comfort zone.
And everything you want in your life is right outside your comfort zone.
That's it.
Like we've seen this with so many people, right?
But your question is why do we share? Question. No, why do we share?
Yes.
Or how come we share? And I am a freedom fighter, and I made this decision a while back when I was 30 years old because of real estate. I was financially free. And I remember, you know, in my 20s, like I worked hard, like, you know, I was building my business 9 to 9, then I would do real estate between 9:01 and 1 a.m. in the morning, 7 days a week. And I would fantasize about what my life would look like when I was financially free. And one of the fantasies was I would sit on a beach for the rest of my life. You know, I got the flip-flops, and then I got the surfer shorts, and then I would book these trips to Dominican Republic. You've been to them, a resort, 1 week, 4 square meals a day. Yeah. You on the Sunday you're exhausted, tired, and you need a vacation. And I remember the cab driver in the Dominican Republic. He's like, where are you from? I'm like, I'm from Canada. And he's like, all these people from Canada, they work so hard and they come here for just 1 week. Why don't people just stay here? And I was like, you know what? Why don't I do that? You know what I mean? And we hear and I remember Home Above and Beyond, or what's that store called? Or
no, Bath and Beyond?
Yeah, there's this, I don't know.
I think it is something like that, yeah.
I was in one of those stores and they have those bathroom signs, find a life you don't need a vacation from, or whatever.
Yeah.
And I used to fantasize. I'm like, oh wow, imagine I could just be on vacation all the time. That's what freedom would look like to me. And so the day came. That day came. I was 30 years old. I sold one of my companies. I have my real estate portfolio, and I realized that I did not have to work a day in my life. And I said, whew, this is crazy. What am I going to do? Oh, I'm going to go back to Dominican, but I've booked 2 weeks now, right? And if you've ever been on a vacation on a resort for 2 weeks,
I haven't.
Okay,
I can't get myself that long to do it, but I want to hear what
that day will come. Okay, and it's going to be miserable.
I figured it was that. Hence why I can't even get to 10 days on those.
Listen,
things.
what you realize. Okay, first of all, what you realize on the first day of the second week, you realize that the whole thing happens all over again. It's like Groundhog.
Yeah, it's the same shows
just
at
different
night
people. I'm like, and so by day two, on the second week, I was miserable and I was moping around the beach, and I was like, what am I? This is the rest of my life now? Is this what I'm supposed to do with my life? And so what I realized way back then is that I wanted to live a life of fulfillment. And that meant that I wanted to get people, as many as possible, to that moment. Because when you're in the trenches, whatever fantasy you have of what you think your time would look like once you're free, it's not even that. And I'm a big believer that people are good. And if you just give people their time back, they would do amazing things.
So true.
Imagine if everyone just had a little bit more of their time back. It would be like a renaissance on earth. And so ever since that moment, I've been, I'm the freedom convoy. Well, I'm on a financial freedom convoy. And I want to bring the financial freedom to the people, get their time back so they can do amazing things with their life.
Yeah, look, I mean, I wish I could write everyone like, a couple $1 million check, because
it wouldn't work though.
I know. And the reason I'm saying I would like to, because I know that's what everybody thinks that they want.
Yes.
And because then they're going to come to the realization that it was probably something else that they were chasing, and that was probably some form of joy and happiness.
Yeah. And joy and happiness comes from expansion. So when you're taking risks in life, with getting outside your comfort zone, you grow, you expand and you grow, and if you grow, you reach fulfillment. Fulfillment comes from growing, because if you can't, and then when you get fulfillment, then you're happy. Without fulfillment, you can't be happy. You'll never be happy. You'll say you're happy, but you'll never reach that. And so that's where it comes. It's like that fulfillment. And that doesn't come from things. It doesn't come from sitting on a beach for the rest of your life. No matter how good the fantasy is in your mind, it's going to come from you doing something amazing in this world.
And what I found is that's when the money starts actually following you.
Attraction.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you're not, we all chase it or have chased it. Some of us have come to the realization, and that doesn't make us better. It doesn't make us fucking like higher than anybody. It's just not that. It's just, I think experience, like age does play a factor, because you've just experienced earth and people and circumstances more, where you come and realize you're like, holy shit, when I'm doing something that like I'm happy, getting fulfillment, I wake up really early, I visualize it a lot, I go to sleep a little bit later. It doesn't feel like work. And because I'm bringing so much value to either the marketplace as a whole or people in general, then my income is in direct proportion of the value that I'm bringing to the marketplace.
Yeah.
And so then that has grown over time. I make a lot more money is following me now at the age of 40. And all I've done differently, Alfonso, in the last 3 years is play more. Mm-hmm. I haven't worked overall, I haven't really worked like in the last, I'm going to say like work, where it felt like shit, I don't want to do this, like a good 12, 13 years. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, I don't know if like, would somebody call this work? You know what I mean? Like, I don't get, like, I don't pay, like, you didn't pay me to be on this podcast. So I don't get like a check from anybody. I don't do sponsored ads or any of that kind of stuff. But some way, somehow, because of the value
yeah.
you and I are bringing, money somehow followed.
Yeah.
You know, and I just haven't yet figured out a way to really articulate that to somebody.
I can help you.
Tell me.
Well, it comes from, okay, first we have this idea of the things that we want, right? So, you know, people, career-wise, relationship, you know, health, wealth, real estate. And that's kind of where it stops for a lot of people, you know, and a lot of books really encourage people to write down their goals, and, you know, which it's all good. But what happens is there's something missing from a lot of these books. And so for me, it's all about becoming. First, understanding what it is that you want. That's number one. But understanding who is the person that is a direct match to everything you want. How do you talk? How do you dress? How do you walk? What kind of people do you associate with? You know, what kind of books do you read? What kind of activity? How would you conduct your day if you were that person that had the life of your dreams? And so what you did is you went out and you became. And the second you become, and this can happen instantly for anybody, but the second you start to become, you start to attract the right people, the right circumstances, the right ideas, the right joint ventures, the right podcasts, the right investors, the right deals, the right everything to match the person you've just become.
Now, if somebody wants to become an investor where they don't have to have that day job, what's the steps? Like, where do they get the financial freedom when it comes to investing into real estate?
Well, the thing is, at the very beginning, and I say this all the time to people, don't quit your day job. Because if you quit the day job, then it becomes about survival. And you're never going to make good decisions in your life if you're trying to pay your bills. You know, this, like, you go to Latin America, you're like, oh, well, why don't they just think positive, and, you know, everything would be amazing in Latin America. Well, the thing is, someone is holding a door. Behind that door, there's hunger, there's drug lords, there's, you know, there's
Crime,
status, all these things that they're trying to hold back. And the focus becomes, how can we get a meal on the table for today? They can't focus on creation and building and creating. But here, for the most part, that's taken care of. Like, your basic needs are met. Now you have all this other time to create and build an empire. And so most people talk about the side hustle. I don't agree with the side hustle. I don't think you should hustle on the side. I think you should build an empire on the side. You know, don't do little, because that time is so valuable. Don't get a second job. Have that one job that sustains your living. You can pay your bills, take care of your groceries, but now focus all of your time on creating that empire for yourself, generational wealth. And that time between 6 to whatever time, that's your time. Some people choose to watch Netflix. Some people choose to, you know,
drink
and do all kinds. There's all kinds of activities.
Whatever. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so you will have to make sacrifices in your life. You know, like when I was young, in my 20s, I made a lot of decisions that I am reaping the benefits today. Right? I'm 45 now. When I was 20, I was on the grind. You know, I was building my company, and I was building my real estate portfolio, and I was investing in myself. If I wasn't doing any one of those, I was with my mentors. I was hungry. And people said, well, you know, Alfonso, you know, we don't see you at the club anymore. And I said, I don't see you at the bank. You know? I'm out here making deposits. You know what I mean? Like, where are you at when I'm at the bank?
Yeah.
And so, you know, you are going to have to sacrifice some things. And so back to how does someone get started, I would say, don't leave the day job. Use the time that you have, the extra time, to build something amazing, so that could sustain you. And once you build something that could at least cover your basic needs, then leave the job. So now you can put all of your time into that generational wealth piece.
You know, just looking at you right now, man, and I was thinking, it's so funny. Everybody wants the tactics, right? Like they want the tell me where to invest right now. Tell me
The neighborhood.
Yeah.
What's the neighborhood?
The best neighborhood.
Give me the best neighborhood right now.
Like right now. And give me the highest return kind of thing.
But
80% of it, 90% of it is right here. Right?
Yeah. Well, you know, if I brought a deal to someone right now, this is the best deal, they wouldn't know what to do with it. Right? The average person is not going to understand what to do with the deal. It's too large, or it's, you know, too complicated. The numbers, we don't know. And so you need to develop yourself, right? And, you know, most people, and I'm pumping gas, and this guy's looking at me like this. And I'm like, okay, this guy, what's he doing? He comes to me, he's like, you're Alfonso. I'm like, okay. He's like, I watch you on YouTube. Guess what I did today? I said, what is it? What did you do? He's like, I incorporated. I'm like, oh, really? Do you have a property? He's like, no.
Alfonso, you don't even know the story that you just told. Before you walked into the studio, I told these guys about an agent that saw me at a gas station.
Yeah, for some reason, this is where people want to.
Because you're actually out there pumping gas. There's no more full service gases. You know what I mean? I wish there was, because then I could just sit in the car and work a little bit more. But anyways, I was just telling them the same story. Everyone's eyes, including mine, I was like, holy shit. Like it literally just happened. So it's hilarious.
So the guy says, I just incorporated. I'm like, oh, like, good for you. You know what I mean? What, like, do you have a property? He's like, no. And I'm like, okay, it's like, did you start a business? No, you just incorporated. I watched your videos, and then I decided to incorporate that day. And I'm like, okay, well, you know, you're missing some steps. And you know, but God bless you for taking a step.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
But you know, sometimes people like the mind, and I know where the mindset. I'm going to incorporate, and then I'm going to build a company, and I can leave my job. And that becomes a focus for a lot of people. And then they don't make smart decisions, right? The smartest decision you can make is invest in yourself, learn, get that intellectual currency. Because if you have that intellectual currency, you'll never need any other currency. You're going to attract all of it. And if you're sitting there and you're making all your decisions based on paying your bills at the end of the month, you're going to make really horrible decisions. Right? They're not going to be, you're not looking long term, right? And so for me, the first thing that I tell people is like, go 5 years into the future. What is it that you want your life to look like? And then bring it to the present and start making every decision that you make should be in alignment with that 5-year goal. And right now, if you let go of that job today, and maybe for some people that's going to work. But for most people, if they let go of that job, all the decisions are going to be about today. I got to pay the bills today. They're not going to be in alignment with that 5-year goal.
It's funny when you think about just paying your bills. I mean, even me, like, you know, in the start of, I'm going to say, not really the start of my real estate career, because it was actually even before that. Every time I thought about paying just my monthly bills, a funny thing happened. I paid my monthly bills.
Exactly.
I just had enough.
Yeah.
To pay my monthly bills. The second I started to think, you know what? Let's try to turn my annual income into my monthly income.
Yes.
A funny thing happened. I started to turn my annual income into my monthly income.
And the bills took care of themselves.
Oh, 100% did they ever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I also didn't get too stupid with increasing my expenses, like on personal stuff, right? Yeah. And so, I mean, if you can think about it, whatever you think about, you can actually bring about. And I know that might be philosophical for people and some foofy-faffy stuff, but I'm telling you, the shit is true. If you can think about it, you can bring about it.
Yes.
You just need to actually start to visualize. Usain Bolt runs that race 1,000 times before we actually see him on the track. You know what I mean? Like he's visualizing it on a regular basis. And I just think most people are visualizing the stuff that they don't want.
Yeah.
Hence why they get more of that in their life.
Well, they're like, oh, I want to be in real estate because I hate my job. Right? Which is fine. It's a valid point, right? And some people may need to get a new job, do something, make less money, but be happy for the love of God. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, what you said about, think about, bring about, it makes a lot of sense. And I love to connect it with, if you want to have it, you need to become it. And this is that becoming piece, right? Where you need to figure out what does that person look like and start walking in those towards that goal, but actually allowing yourself to become and start allowing yourself to transform. Not fake it till you make it, because it's fake. It doesn't make any sense. Become it. Start walking, start investing in yourself. Like when I walked in here, I was like, what? He's got this is another word.
I'm still trying to get is that like a strip joint sign or anything? I'm still trying to get what people's thoughts are about
this. This is Miami. You know what I mean? I got Miami vibes.
Miami Vice vibes too, right? And then you come in with that blazer.
Yeah, well, you know what? Like, I love it. Like, this is becoming. You are becoming, and you will attract all of it, right? You will attract all of it. You will attract the 100 million views per episode because you are taking the action steps that are required. And every you take a step, then you attract a step. You take another step, you attract another step.
I mean, look, you said this 3 years ago. You came into that studio and it really wasn't a studio. It was more of an office.
No, but it was...
But one thing that you pointed to that time, and we have the video now, so it's good. You pointed to the mics at that time, and you're like, shit, Jazz, because this was like 3 years ago almost. Like, that was still early podcast days. Not everybody was in podcasting. You were like, holy crap, like, these mics are, expensive. Yeah. You're attracting.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, you had the phone.
Well, yeah. This is for my salespeople. It's a reminder to let them know this is the best exercise for salespeople. I just hope they get it.
I was like, I came in here, I'm like, what? I'm like, who am I going to see, Charlemagne the God? I was like, God damn, you guys are leveled up.
It means a lot coming from you, brother. It really means a lot. I know how many podcasts and stuff you've been on and how busy you are and all that. I can never let you go without talking some real estate with you. Okay, like some hard real estate from the streets. A couple of things. Right now, recording summer 2022. Like, what are you seeing? What are you hearing? Like, what's your just overall thoughts about the market?
The market is doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing. Meaning, you needed to cool things off because people were making dumb decisions, plain and simple, right? And at the end of the day, you can't shut the world down for 2 years, print all of this money, and not expect for consumers to make dumb decisions. And what the government is trying to do is bring all the horses back into the barn.
I like that analogy. Yeah.
They're like, come on, guys, come on.
Because there was a lot of people who took that CERB money and did go to Dominican, not you.
Hey,
but there was
hashtag living my best life.
Hashtag living my best life. How'd you pay for this from the CERB money?
Hey, look, people using their house as an ATM.
Yeah,
right. The people, the RVs, like, you know what, honey, we need a pool. You know what, honey, we should take the summer off. Like, how is the cost of living doubling, but no one can find anybody to work, right? I flew here from Ottawa, and I'm like, what's going on here? I do what I usually do: take out my laptop, put it on the. They're like, no, sir, leave everything in your bag. What? Since when is this
a security check?
Yeah.
Okay, continue.
I'm like, since when is this a thing? You leave it, like, I'm like, had everything out. I was ready. Like, I got my phone out. No. Everything goes in your bag. I'm like, okay, you guys are in your bag now, kind of people. And they're like, no, it's gonna go through the thing. Everything's gonna be one. Everything goes into one bin.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is bizarre. And so the thing goes through, and my watch rang when I'm walking through the thing. What would they do? Go back.
Yeah.
Go back, right?
And then
but the guy's like, you know what? Give me your watch. Go back through and come back. And like it didn't ring. He's like, okay, the watch is good. Good. Boom. Let's go. And it's like, I'm like, what's going on? And then I realized there's only one line. Like you have 10 possible lines. They're down to one. They can't find anybody to work. They can't find anybody to work because people have lived their hashtag living my best life, and they've gone and they're at the cottage right now. They're not coming back to work.
Oh, I went through the same thing trying to hire people, but yeah, continue.
And so the governments,
they had to do this. Is what
they had to do this, right? This is because this is what's going to happen. At some point in the fall, someone's gonna say, well, hashtag we need a new job, honey. And
we ran out.
We ran out,
Yeah.
and the RVs are gonna. First of all, they'll sell the RV.
Yep.
They'll sell the house, or you know what I mean.
And we're seeing it like
Yeah.
call it about 18 months ago. You couldn't get you couldn't find a car anywhere, like a more of a one of the higher end cars, Rolexes and all that kind of stuff. Okay, you couldn't even find one.
Yeah, wow.
Go to the Rolex at Yorkdale. If you did a couple of call it like 18 months ago, they had nothing. Like literally, they had nothing. They were just showing you stuff from a catalog and putting you on a waiting list. Now, go on the resale market on eBay and look for a Rolex. There's an influx of them.
Yeah.
Why? Because to your point, people are starting to sell shit off.
Yeah. And so that's going to be the first part. So this summer is still going to be like a good summer for people. In the fall, there's going to be another tax
Mortgage increase.
Interest rate increase in September. I think it's September 7th or
Something like that.
yeah.
Right after Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, of course.
Of course, yeah.
Let them enjoy.
100%.
Everyone's gonna enjoy cottage life. Hashtag living your best life.
Muskoka life.
Yeah. And then there's gonna be some reality check is what it is. And then what's gonna happen is people are gonna withhold, right? Because everyone's gonna be thinking the same thing: scarcity, news, and everyone's gonna pull back a little bit, and then that is gonna cause a lot of issues in the market, because the biggest issue was a supply chain issue. Those supplies are on their way here, and then when they get here, people aren't gonna, they're not gonna be the same. As the demand is not gonna be the same, and so that's gonna create a recession. That will stabilize everything. Again, my opinion. I'm just a guy, right? I mean, I don't have a crystal ball, but I think we're headed towards a stable market, because what's the difference today is that we have a housing crisis. So that if we did not have a housing crisis like we do right now, then you would see the market, the housing market would crash. I don't see the housing market crashing. I see it more stabilizing, and then at some point when it's stabilized, there's a recession. To kickstart it, they're going to start rolling back the interest rates.
So, look, I mean, in the absence of the crystal ball, we as investors are slightly starting to see not 50 cents on the dollar by any means.
Well, there's a lag. There's a lag.
Yes, there is.
There's a lag.
But I don't even know if we're going to get to 50 cents on the dollar, like with those kind of deals, but whatever. Let's just say even now, there's deals out there to be had where there may be 85, 90 cents on the dollar from a few months ago before all these increases. Now's a time that real estate's actually going on sale. And in some areas has gone on sale.
And it's a small window.
And what do you think that window is?
I think
the absence of the crystal ball.
We're going to be good. We're going to be good till Christmas.
I was going to say the end of the year myself.
Yeah.
Because I still have this thought that they'll probably start to decrease rates come first quarter of 2023.
We're still in a housing crisis.
Well, people forget that.
Yeah, like
People
they
have
forget
forgotten
about
that.
the interest rates or whatever. Like, right now we're battling inflation, right? Government says 8-9%. I would say it's more like 16%.
I was gonna say 20.
Yeah.
I know what my grocery bill is,
Yeah.
man.
Well, you know
Like,
what? People are like, "What's
my
your
kids are not eating
how do you-
anymore.
How do you come up with the 16?" I said, "Whatever BS the government says, I
Double?
always double it."
I'm kind of basing it on just what I know what the gas is doing and all that kind of stuff. But
We're gonna see deflation. Like it's so all of the right now there's overproduction. We have a supply chain.
Yep.
Right now we're feeling the effects of shutting down 2 years ago, and what that did, and why we're in this situation. I mean, drive by a dealership, no cars.
yep.
Right, and so that means that the whoever owns that dealership has to sell those cars that they have on the lot for 20-30% more to justify the lack of business, right, or the lack of sales. But everyone is on the phone right now. Give me more. I'll take whatever you can get, right? And when that stuff gets here, people's mindset will be different. Everyone's going to be like, well, I'm not sure. And then you're going to have oversupply in the market. And then that should stabilize things. That's what you actually need.
We're right now, because we're going to get this episode out ASAP. We're right now, and I won't ask you for neighborhoods, but I will ask you for cities. That you're like really got an eye on, man, and because maybe mid-COVID was it? I saw you flying around to Saskatchewan and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So, but right now,
Well, I do like the Saskatchewans and the Albertas of the world.
Well, Alberta for a second. Sorry, I didn't know you were going to say Alberta. Shelf that for a second. I think most people know Alberta's kind of there. And are you talking Calgary or Alberta though?
I'm talking Alberta, like the
Calgary or Edmonton. I meant to say. Sorry.
I would say more any major market. Like I like to be around major markets.
Okay.
Right. So anything around Calgary, you know, we're talking Lethbridge, we're talking Red Deer.
Okay.
We're talking those markets. Edmonton, anything around there, anything supported by a major market, I think will do well.
Does
I think it's
cyclical nature of what happens with
oil
there, does that bother you, get into your mind?
Well, the
For
thing
me,
is,
it does.
yeah,
Right. And
yeah.
and again, I'm a born and raised Toronto guy.
Yeah.
Very, very boring investor.
Yeah.
Very, very lazy investor. I got other shit on the go. I like creating wealth in real estate, like nice and like lazy as possible, passive as possible.
Yeah.
And so Alberta, I just don't like the cyclical nature of it.
Yeah.
But
But in the space that I'm in, when you're buying multifamily, you're buying the income that the property is providing, right? Of course, you have your vacancies. You have you have to take into consideration the age of the property, capital expenditures, but ultimately you're buying the income. For me, I look at major markets that have multiple employers. I don't like going into any like one horse town kind of thing. And so anything that is fully supported by the oil, I'm probably going to stay away from.
Got it.
Right? I don't want to be like in a town with one industry.
So what's Saskatchewan offer?
Saskatchewan has two major cities, Saskatoon, Regina. And ultimately, that's the only place where you have units available. So, for example, Saskatoon, the vacancy rate in Saskatoon is about 8 or 9%. Okay, you can't even find that here. And so when because the government is promoting immigration, where do you think these people are going to land? Are they going to land in downtown Toronto where there's like no
Negative vacancy rate?
Yeah, there's
There's multiple offers on rentals. You know what I'm saying?
Or are they gonna encourage people to go and live in some of these other markets where there is vacancy? New Brunswick for me was that in 2017. In 2017, New Brunswick had really high vacancy. Back in 2017, we were buying assets in New Brunswick for $35K a door. And you can go back to my YouTube channel. I was like, guys, please buy New Brunswick. And so everyone went there. And so no longer is that the case.
Just off the top of your head, because I think people, this will help them like it will land with them. $35,000 a door, New Brunswick, 2017. Off the top of your head, what are we looking at now?
Right now, 150.
Yeah. Okay, see, that's the magic of real estate.
Yeah.
$35,000 a door, simple math, $100. What did you say?
150 today.
150 today.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's what actually happens. Yeah. And so now continue about, because I think you're going to.
Yeah. So I'm going to go into like Manitoba in many ways it's kind of in that same, I guess, situation where it's like higher vacancy. I like Saskatchewan better than Manitoba, but when you look at both of these, both of them have two major cities. Manitoba, I think, really has just Winnipeg, and it's kind of really cold. Like it's not cold, but it's like Winterpeg.
We have a speaking event coming up.
Love Winnipeg, the people in Winnipeg. Nice. I have lots of students in Winnipeg. I love you guys. Okay, and I think if you have some insight on Manitoba, go for it. But I really do prefer Saskatchewan because it does have that vacancy, deep roots with a lot of Ukrainians, and so I know there's 850,000 coming our way, and they're not going to show up in Ontario. They're gonna show up in Alberta and Saskatchewan.
In terms of what, I'm sure you're obviously listening and watching what's happening with the media and the government kind of proposing not being able to increase the rents when there's a turnover on a tenant. Have you heard this?
Well, there's lots of things out there in the air,
and
right?
this is a lot of it's hearsay.
But this is why I love Saskatchewan. Now you're bringing me the love of Alberta and Saskatchewan because the tenant rules are more
landlord
it's
friendly.
It's more fair. I would say it's fair. And what happens because the Liberal answer to the vacancy issue here in Ontario, and by the way, I don't care about Liberal or Conservative. I'm more for pro-efficiency, right? But the government before, the answer was rent control. Well, what's going to happen with rent control? You set a rent. That means if someone moves out, you cannot increase the rent. That rent has to stay the same. Very similar to a province like Quebec, where the current tenant has a right to ask you what the last tenant paid for, and if it's less, they can roll back those rents. What's going to happen? Well, you're going to see a lot of these new buildings, beautiful buildings, are going to deteriorate because investors aren't going to be able to invest into these buildings because they can never recoup that capital expenditure because any money that they put into, they can't increase rents. And so you can't increase rents, it affects the value of the building.
Now, I mean, hence why you like more landlord-friendly provinces, right?
Or states.
Or states. Are you in?
Yeah.
What are you doing in the States right now?
Yeah.
Like what's going on? Where are you looking in the States over there?
I like Tennessee. I like the Tennessees of, the Tennessee is very much like a Saskatchewan.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
And what about, are you in, I just did something in Florida, but what's your thoughts of Florida?
We're currently doing something in California. I like Florida a lot.
I'm surprised you went to Cali, Alfonso.
Yeah.
Just because.
I had someone. It was just
Cali,
very
if you
deal.
don't mind me asking.
We have a deal right now, 18 units, 4 miles away from downtown Los Angeles.
Okay.
Yeah, but it is a value add play, and it just happened to be an opportunity. I wouldn't say that California is one of the best places to invest. I would say more like Arizona. I would say Florida, Texas, and I like the Tennessees if you want to have that lift, that value add.
And you said it's similar to like a Saskatchewan. Is it like you're
like
seeing higher vacancy rates?
Yeah, exactly.
And you think they might, like the government's going to start pushing people to there?
Or there's just more opportunity for you to do, more of a value add type of situation.
Is it, just out of curiosity, I don't know much about Tennessee. Is that more of a blue state or a red state anyway?
It's a red state.
It's more of a red state. Okay, okay.
North Carolina, that does make a big difference, blue state, red state. But also, you know what? We have properties in Quebec. We have properties all in Ontario. And going back to your original question, now that the interest rates have increased, I love Ontario. I'm back home, baby.
Elaborate.
Because now, people, things make sense again. People are flexible. You're able to go and negotiate. And where I'm going new build, new construction. right? So I've gone lean and clean. I've liquidated like the bottom 20% of my portfolio to go into like really amazing projects. We're building 60 unit apartment buildings. I have a 30 unit that we're building downtown Ottawa. We have a 24 unit that I have outside of Ottawa. I have a 44 unit. So my strategies have changed, and I like Ontario for new builds.
Are you buying stuff like this Ottawa stuff? Is this like vacant land in your building on, or are you buying something with a...
So I'm doing both.
Okay.
So I'm buying the land with bring a builder on the team. We're building something. We're bringing it to site plan approval. We're putting together the money. We're building, and I'm also buying directly from builders.
I like this.
Right, and what I like about that is like exactly what you're gonna get. There's not this like uncertainty on our material costs gonna go up, and I like buying directly from builders.
And are you in overall just like in your like where you are right now in your career of investing? Are you acquiring capital as well for joint ventures?
Yeah.
And how does that look like? Because I know there's people watching and listening right now.
Yeah.
And big shout out to the live audience that we have today that I never even mentioned. And so I'm sure they have some questions after as well. Did you not know this?
Hey, guys, make some noise. See, you guys didn't know that. Yeah, a whole live audience here.
100%.
You should see them, thousands of people. Right here.
Thousands in our mind, that's for sure. They might even be interested into something like introducing it in JVs. Like, how does that all look like to you, buddy?
So it really depends on the deal. It's very deal specific. This is why, the guy at the gas station, hey, I incorporated, but like, do you have a property? Like you kind of want to find the property and then, figure out what the structure is going to be. My go-to is finding accredited investors that love what I do, and we could either do, a GPLP type structure, or we're all, collectively just go buy the asset,
Okay, and is there anything like that you're working on now that even I can have some people, like I'm just curious, that I can even send to you?
Yeah,
Yeah? Okay, good.
Ultimately, when someone reaches out,
Yeah.
I never talk about deals because it needs to be a good fit. I like to get to know someone. I mean, these types of investments, we're in it for, this is like long-term type.
10?
Yeah, a good
10, 15 years?
5, 10, especially with the new assets.
Yeah.
I mean, what I love about new is that in 20 years from now, it will still be new.
Yes.
Especially from an apartment building perspective. And then you got this beautiful honeymoon period that I enjoy, like the first 5 years where everything's under warranty and, very low maintenance. And so we're in it for the, we're buying a 60 unit apartment building, 14.5 million. We're even thinking of locking it in, for, 10 years. Like we're not even thinking about pulling out money for 10 years. And
I love that, man, because
so
it's
just
really a 10-year window.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
So the people that I work with, we really need to. I need to understand that this is what they want. They want generational wealth, and obviously values need to align. And if people reach out, and I'm always open to having these conversations and seeing if it's the right fit. Maybe they're better fit for like a different type of model.
What's the 1-2 questions? Because I know there's somebody
people give
right
me?
now. No. The 1-2 questions that you probably ask, Alfonso, because there's somebody on the treadmill right now thinking like, man, I might JV with the person at the gym with me right now, or my cousin or my buddy or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
What's the 1-2 questions that you might ask on that call to find if the values align?
Well, first of all, the expectation.
Okay.
Right.
So what's your expectation on this deal, or what's your expectation on the partnership kind of thing?
Yeah, like what are your goals?
Got it.
Right? Like, are you trying to is this like a thing that you're gonna need this money, and you're because there's multiple different deals. I do value adds, and then there's buy and holds. Okay, the value adds are very time intensive, and I was known for a lot of value adds. So, I could get people's money back in their pockets, in 6 months to 12 months. but they're not all. Those are not always the deals that I have available. You know, some deals are just simply we buy it and then we hold it. We hold it for life. You know,
Boring stuff.
yeah.
Ones that create that generational wealth.
And that's the people that I'm looking for, because, and you know what, there is occasional value add that will come, but if everyone only wants that, then that's going to take a lot of time from me, and there's certain things that I guard is my time, and so the buy and holds that takes a very specific type of person, probably a high net worth individual. Probably an accredited individual, probably someone that is looking for generational wealth and looking to put an asset in like this into their portfolio. So those are the questions that I ask. Are you like, what's your plan? You know, like do you need this money in the next 3 to 5 years? Like what is it that you're looking for?
As a first-time investor, you know, we talked about if somebody has $10,000, $15,000, make the investment into yourself. Somebody has 75, 100,000, 150,000. Do you think a multiplex is still the right play for a first-time investor?
Depends on their goal, right? Like, what do they want to accomplish? And if someone says, I want to quit my job, well, then you're going to need some education. That means you're going to have to be more active, right? $150,000 passively is not going to put you in a position where you can quit your job anytime soon. That means that you're going to have to get that intellectual currency and go in and take more of an active role in a multifamily. That could mean partnering with other active people so you can learn the ropes. That could mean you take down a deal yourself and you put the 150 to as part of let's say a pool of money to invest. But if someone says, you know what, I have 150, but my goal is to watch this 50 grow over time, and I'm not really concerned about, you know, the return. I just want it to be safe, capital preservation. I would say that would be the kind of person that should invest into a multifamily passively.
My brother, I see you on Facebook. I see you on Instagram. You light up my phone every time I see it, because I could just feel like your vibrations are definitely like where I like to be at as well. I love the fact that you're willing to share so much. You flew down to do this. I mean, it means the world to me. I really, really want you to know.
I went through one line in the security.
I'm glad that it was only one line. That obviously got you.
No, but the line was long.
Yeah.
Trust me.
I know. Thank you so much for your time,
brother.
buddy. Thank you for what you do for the community. Because you're like, I don't know if you know. Look, I mean, there's people here like, yeah, I know Alfonso. You know what I mean? And,
make some noise.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
And there's gonna be people who you know, when the team puts all your links and stuff in, they're gonna really get to know that you're someone who's just wanting to put out information. And if people want to reach out to you to get more information, you're very open to that. And you've been like that since day one. Since the first time I met you, you're always asking like, "Hey, Jazz, how can we collaborate?" We did a nightcap. I'm not sure if you remember one late night.
That was fun. That was fun. That was like in the middle of
right in the middle of the pandemic. Like nobody was leaving. Like, you were in your home office, I think, or maybe no, you were in another office by yourself. You got a place. I was doing it at home. You've always said yes to me, and so, you know, as you fly back and you start to think of hopefully ways that I can bring you value, please reach out. I mean, you're becoming a brother from another mother for me, man. And
yes, sir.
I just wanted to say thank you for everything you do, and thank you for being on today's podcast.
Thank you for all you do, and thank you for this phone.
Yeah,
this is a good reminder. No, you like this podcast. Everything that you're doing is you're also going through your expansion, and I congratulate you. And you know, this is why, you know, you're an attractor.
Well, I think I'm attractive too.
Well, I don't know.
Alfonso, thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you. Thanks.